Oh,
Oh,
thank
well,
you. All right, it's okay, guys. You couldn't hear us, but we were just saying hellos.
yeah.
We're good. Ed McCune, have a seat. So this is CMA Your Way, and literally today's going to be your way.
Okay. Your way or my way.
No, you're like you're going to be like, oh, okay.
I mean, when you do it so often, I just was telling somebody this morning, when you go into these houses so often, you almost don't need, as long as you're looking at Flex almost every day and you're out there, you almost don't need to pull up a CMA to tell your buyer, hey, this is where we're at, right? As far as the range is concerned.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think that's exactly the key word for buyers. It's range. Sellers, you're trying to pinpoint. You're trying to get that price right.
Yeah.
Because the way you land is going to determine if you're going to get offers or not. With buyers, it's way more flexible because it's more of a range. Are we in the range, right?
Yeah, you can often say like, hey, we may just be a little bit overpriced, but not too badly overpriced. Or this is like, I just did one not too long ago where we walked in and I knew right away this is going to go multiple offers. And it did. Within 24 hours, she was calling multiple offers. And now we had to figure out, like, how do we make our offer better? We are already at top dollar. Where in the terms can we make our offer better? So it's always about that range and letting them decide, because I don't want to be like getting a call later saying, hey, we overpaid for this house. It happened during the COVID times. I know that there were a few people who, and Allie talks about it all the time. She can attest to that more than I can, but like how people were just paying a lot more for the house because they just needed it.
And we have to be really careful because I say this all the time, there's different types of value, right? We're doing CMAs, right? We're getting an estimate, an idea of what the value would be, right? So that we can put an offer. We're not appraisers, right? But during COVID, a lot of people were coming in 20, 30,000 over list. The reality is though, if you have to understand, market value is whatever someone is willing to sell for and what somebody's willing to buy for. During COVID, buyers were willing to pay for that. So were they really overpaying?
Probably not.
They weren't. They just weren't, right? Overpaying is there's no offers on the house. It's been sitting for 2 years and the seller refuses to come down. And the buyer's like, I'll tell you what, regardless of what happens with the appraisal, I'll fill in the difference because I actually need to be in this location, right? And even then, the market value might be XYZ, but the emotional value for the buyer is up here, right? So we're talking CMAs. It always comes down to what are they selling for and what are people willing to buy for. When you're on multiple offers, it's telling us that
there's a want there.
There's a want there.
Desire, and yeah.
Right. So when we do our CMAs, I'm actually looking more at the exterior factors than the actual computer. Where is it located? What kind of house is it? Like ranches, we know are hard to find. Lakefronts are hard to find, right? Certain areas, Airbnb, all that. We're looking at that first. Then we're like, are there any other offers on the house? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if there's other offers on the house, I'm just gonna like, just give them what they want or more. Like, do you want this house or not? Right? We're not appraisers, but guess what? If they're getting a mortgage, they're paying for an appraisal. So let the appraiser do their job, right? Our job is to get them the house wherever they're comfortable paying, right? Like she said, we're in and out of the houses. We're seeing the inventory. You just look and see. That's what a CMA is. You're just comparing.
And a lot of people will compare. Obviously, we're all living in that monthly, right? That monthly payment. $5,000, $10,000 is not going to do that's a $20 difference in your monthly payment. So like Ali says, like, how badly do you want the house? And is this the house that checks all of your boxes, right? But yeah, in the beginning, like most of you guys may have not been in many houses. Like Miriam has probably been in maybe a handful of houses compared to like the number that Ali has been into. So you're trying to get an idea of what the market is doing. So that's where, for me, when I first started, that's where I did a lot of searches on the MLS and a lot of data numbers on the MLS. Plus, I just have that kind of person, a little bit, that kind of personality where the numbers, they mean something.
Not me. They don't. I'm like, do you want it or not?
So yeah, and it also depends on your client too, right?
Right.
Because if your client is very data driven, then they want to see the numbers.
Right. But even with that, like we said, it's a range. We're not appraisers. So I don't know about her, but when I do my CMA, I don't get in the weeds. I'm comparing type of house. I'm comparing first and foremost, I'm in the community if possible. If I'm not in the community, I'm in the township in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. After that, it's the style of home. Because colonials do value differently from contemporaries, and contemporaries value differently from ranchers. So I look at style of home. And then from there, 3-bed, 2-bath, 4-bed. And I try to keep it 3. If it's 3-bed, 2-bath, I keep it a strict 3-bed, 2-bath strict. If I don't have enough inventory, then I'll bump it up a bedroom, right? And that's it. I don't even look up garages or anything because so many people don't list their house right that,
yeah, so many agents,
you lose a comp because they don't put in, and you know what? The MLS also though didn't have it, the way that you put in garages really wasn't helpful before. Now it's a little different. So I just put 3-bed, 2-bed, contemporary, in Penn Estates. What do I got? Then I look at the pictures and I knock out the ones that maybe are not the same kind of condition. And then I pick it and I run a CMA. There's your range. I don't go in the weeds. Does it have a fireplace? Is it not? Da, da, da.
Oh yeah, me either.
I
No,
don't.
we're just doing bedrooms, and location is going to be the first one, right? Because when an appraiser does it, they're going to be like, how many houses have sold?
Yeah.
In
And they try to
either
give it a
this
mile,
community
right?
or within a 1-mile range. I always thought it was 5 miles, but it's actually 1 mile. So around here, that could be. I don't know. One guy got into the weeds with that with me, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, they've been kind of giving us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go further back. So because I might do one same area and I'll do 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months
Yeah.
to see what comes up so that I can, and because then I'm like, whoa, nothing's selling in this area. We have no inventory, Yeah. Typically, you'll find the same style unless it's a very unique home. Typically, because like Penn Estates has all contemporaries, a couple of colonials. Blue Mountain Lakes has, but you will try your best to measure square footage, bedrooms.
It's like a townhouse or a condo. So we have that situation. I have that situation right now where I'm selling a townhouse. I mean, you're just doing a CMA backwards, right? Not for the seller, but so you're I pulled up all of the townhouses in Middle Smithfield Township. That's basically what I did. And I said to my buyer, here's the range. You tell me where you want to be.
And sometimes I'll look at if North Slope 3 tends to price a little higher. So I'll look at the townhouses in North Slope 3. And so if my townhouse is not in North Slope 3, but it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and all of them are going for like $250, and mine is in a completely different area, I might adjust, like in my head, be like, all right, all of these were built 2005, 2007, they're going $250. This one's probably closer to $230.
And townhouses are, to me, they're kind of like ranches. They're very rare, far few in between that you see them. And a lot of people, the ranch is great because a lot of people want to do the 1-floor living. The townhouse has the maintenance on the outside, right? So a lot of people prefer, typically, So a lot of people prefer that. So it's, again, what's your competition like? And can we find something that is within the last 3 months? Because that's, I've only had it once where an appraiser pulled something from a year ago. And it was because that property was so rare that we
Right.
had to go back that far.
So that's what I do, Zaida. What I try to do, if it's a unique property, instead of spreading out, I try to move back in time. So 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. If in the last year I don't find anything that comps out, then I start fanning out a little bit. Guys, this is CMA for your buyer. It's a completely different mindset. And I'm going to say it, it's going to come off rough, but it doesn't matter. Your CMA doesn't really matter. It's just to kind of get you like, okay, time out. It doesn't matter if they're financing.
Kristen's face was like, what?
No. Well, if they're getting financing, it comes down to, yeah, you want to know if they're in the ballpark. And honestly, every single one of you, I know, even you, and I say that only because you're new to the industry. I'm not saying that derogatorily. You will know, because I guarantee you, if you go to see a house and it's priced at $550,000 and it has 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and it's on a quarter of an acre and there's no parking, you're going to be like, this guy's smoking crack. Right? You would know. So in your gut, you kind of have an idea of something super inflated, right? If you're trying to justify now, you know where I use the CMA a lot?
Where?
In a situation like that, where I know I'm going to come in 100,000 under the list price, then I'm like, hey, I gave as much value as I could. I'm not finding it. This is why my buyer is coming in super low. I'll do a CMA like that. That is, I find for buyers, that's when the CMA is the most valuable, is to support your lowball offer. Yes.
You tell them what properties you actually show.
I give them the CMA. I'm like, hey, can you show me your comp so maybe I can talk my buyers up a little bit. But right now, looking at the data, we're being super generous with this offer because based on the comps, this is what we're seeing. Can you show me? I don't say, are you crazy? Where'd you get your number? Like, can you show me where you got this? Help me understand where you got this. And then maybe I can go back to my buyer, but this is what I'm seeing. So I would say in a situation like that, CMA is super helpful. But other than that, it's a range. It's completely different, I think, than for listing.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's where calling the listing agent is going to be super helpful because you're going to ask those questions like how, what comps did you use? The first one I ever got was from Irene in this office. And I'm like, I'll get back to you on that. Because I honestly I didn't realize that I could give her that information so that she can come in with support or whatever the case may be. But it's helpful for your buyers also, so they can see this is what they're using and maybe they're in the right range.
Right. If you think, hey, the other thing too is the CMAs come in handy when your buyer doesn't want to come up in price, because there's some buyers that come in and they're like, no matter what happens,
straight from
I'm not paying list.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's underpriced, that I don't pay list. And I'm like, well, then I don't work with you. Because and it's true, because we have to be realistic. What are we doing here then? This is not a game. Do you want to buy a house or are we playing crapshoot? What are we doing here, right? But sometimes your buyer's just like, well, I can't. Well, look, actually, this is priced right where it needs to be. It's in range. And hey, you're paying $500 for an appraisal anyway. Why not make him do his work? Be quiet. So with the CMA, I tend to keep it real general, real broad. Something that I learned from Lisa was if you have a bunch of comps, remove the top price and the highest price and the lowest price, remove it out to kind of scrub the data a little bit and run and by the way, listen up, honey, listen up. You're gonna learn.
Miriam.
Don't make this mistake. You have to refresh the button. You have to hit the recalculate button, because one time I'm changing all the comps and I kept getting the same number. And I'm like, bro, I adjusted everything. I'm getting the same number. And it's because there's a little button that says recalculate. So recalculate that.
Oh,
You should have seen me. I was driving myself bananas for 15 minutes. It was a long time ago. It took, yeah. So, and you recalculate it. If you really want to get good at understanding values, and if you really want to get good at even a quick CMA, I recommend, if you don't have business especially, go visit houses. That really is the best way to understand value.
Understand value and understand what's happening in the market.
Period.
Because that's what I did. And I was working full time and doing this, and on my time off that I don't even know how I had, that's what I was doing. I was going to vacant houses and doing an agent showing or preview, whatever it's called. And I was learning what was on the market, and also in flex, like understanding what was on the market.
If you see something like highest and best, if they're still taking showings, go in there. Understand why it's highest and best, if you can. Because I'll tell you, that's on the buyer side of CMA, that is truly the best. I don't do CMAs. I don't. I'm like, literally, I'm like, this feels.
She's not wrong.
This feels about on point. I think this feels about right. Right? Because I'm in and out of inventory, and I've lost houses, or I've lost offers, or I've gained, or because I'm like, this is probably going to go, like you said, this is going to go highest and best. This is because you just kind of, right? I think the CMA is valuable to support a lowball offer. I think the CMA is valuable for analytical people who might want to see the data.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes for those people, I cheat and I just go to RPR and I put the address in and I go, give me a report. Literally, address report, and give it to them. It has like 52 pages of just data, and they like that. I check the range, of course, make sure that it kind of is where I think it should be, because RPR too, you no matter what you do, you need to know the inventory personally. No matter what you do, you need to know firsthand what inventory is, because there's times when RPR is like estimated value is 425 and it says 5-star confidence rating, and I'm like, there's no way.
Allie, can you show them how to do that? Because I've never done
It's
that.
NAR RPR. Yeah. Let me see if I know my.
Huh?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Right.
You mean this?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not my.
Yes. Right. Absolutely. I've in my career, I've closed 200 plus, right? That's closed. That's not what I've written, especially during COVID. I mean, everyone hears about COVID. I mean, if you guys ever watch any of the Thanos movies or any of the Marvel movies, the blip, COVID seriously like the blip, right? It came in fast and left fast. But in July of 2020, there's what, 30, how many days in July? 31? 31 days in July, and I showed homes 30 of those days. And on a lot of those days, I showed 2 or 3 clients, not houses, clients in a day. There was one night where I was writing 6 offers back to back to back because everything was going so quickly. So when it comes to knowledge, yeah, I've closed 200, but that's not even including all the other ones that I've written or that I've that's just 200 closed, 200 plus closed. That's not houses shown, right? If you're a new agent, you should be in buddy up and talk with, go with somebody, just talk about it. How do you feel when you walk in there? What would you pay for it? Then come back and run the numbers and see if your gut was right. Play with the MLS. On the buyer side, it's super relaxed and super broad because you're just trying to get in the ballpark. On this listing side, you have to nail it. That's a completely different scenario. right? So if you're going to come in with a low ball offer, you should have something to support that. For your buyers, if sometimes putting together when they're just not sure, they're nervous, I'll put something together because sometimes they just need to feel like they did the research. They just need to feel like
that. And it also helps for those buyers who immediately right off the gate are like, I'm just going to go $20,000 under asking. And you write their first offer under asking, and they lose that house. But then the next one that they really love and they still want to go under asking, I pull up the numbers for them because I'm like, remember that offer that you lost on that house that you really loved? Here's the numbers on this house. Let me know where you want to be. And if it's still $20,000 under asking, we'll write it. But I guarantee you they're either going to counter or tell you to kick rocks.
So now I tell them to kick rocks the first offer. Basically, but I do the same thing. I'm like, wait a minute, let's run some numbers. You guys are coming in 20. Why? Why do you feel you should come in? Why do you feel you should come in 20 under?
And it always comes down to that monthly payment that
Yeah. Okay, then let's run the numbers because it's $100 difference.
Yeah.
So you're willing to lose your house over $100 a month? Is that what I'm respecting your budget. I want to respect your budget, but I need to understand why the 20,000 under. Because when I look at the numbers, let me send this report to you. It actually says it's priced on point or below. You have an opportunity right now with no competition to snatch it off the market. What are we doing here? Are we on world tour or are we buying a house?
Yeah, and that's the point where that's a good point to bring up because you're not a tour guide. And I learned that really quick when I first became an agent. Like, it's fun to look at houses, guys, but you can look on Zillow, or
Although you
do
can't
your
smell
own.
it.
I don't care. You can do your own.
Can't smell them on Zillow.
Tour the Poconos that way, but I'm not your tour guide. And if you're not willing to at least take my suggestions or look at the data, then I'll see you in 6 months when you're ready.
But and the other thing too, the emotional side of it, which you have to realize is that people come in, they just met you, they like you, they connected with you, and they're about to buy a house on their first showing, right? They start freaking out because they're like, this doesn't make sense. Am I being scammed? Am I being caught up in the emotion of it? So sometimes having that data helps them justify it when they go back to their parents back in New York. And they're like, what do you mean you're buying the first house you saw? You never buy the first house you saw. And I said, well, how many houses are you buying? One. So how many good houses do you actually need to see? How many perfect houses do you need to see? Just one, right? If this one checks off the boxes, what's the problem? So it helps because they get caught up in the emotion, then they get cold feet because they feel like it's too emotional and they're making an emotional decision with this stranger they just met. How can the stranger actually care? So sometimes when you bring in the data as well, when they go home, like, oh no, mom and dad, I looked at the she gave me a report and this house it's priced well and my offer is priced well. And guess what? I have protection because I'm going to have an appraisal. So if it doesn't appraise, she said that I'm not mandated. I'm not forced to pay the difference. We can have another conversation with the seller. P.S. Don't ever tell your buyer that if it doesn't appraise, the seller will lower it. Don't ever tell your buyer that when the seller appraises, oh, we'll just ask him to lower it. We will have a conversation. We'll have a conversation to see what we can come up with, right? Because you're setting the expectation. If you tell them the seller will lower it, you're going to kill your deal later when the seller's like, no. Please don't say that. It's not assumed. It's a negotiation point, right? But then they go back and they're like, hey, look at this report they gave me. It's helpful. It gives credence, credibility to you, to the market, but also it makes them more confident buyers. Yes.
I found it helpful too. Like if you're out with a couple, it's different than just what you just described, where I looked at one home, we put an offer on. But if you're out maybe a weekend and they've looked at 10 homes, 15 homes, and they say, well, what do you think about? Well, you tell me, we've looked at these 15 homes.
Yeah.
Does the value, which home jumped out at you as the best value? And they answer their own question.
Yeah. I think Danny did that once too with a house that I had listed, and she showed it and they were like, oh, this house is listed at this price. She's like, well, yeah, they were, it seems like they were complaining about the prices. And she's like, well, this is this is why other houses are valued at 400, because they have these luxuries, these
Right.
updates or whatever the case is. Yeah.
The appraisal comes in lower.
Mhm.
And the ex seller, can bring it down to basic.
So that is a whole different conversation. The short part is you work through it, you negotiate it. That's a completely different class. Sometimes you could come in the middle. Sometimes the deal burns up. Sometimes your buyer has money, can come in with the difference. There's a billion different scenarios for that and motivations.
Because I know there's strict with the dates here. Do you have certain concepts?
Everything's negotiable. So whenever you negotiate anything with the dates, just extend the dates. Ask the seller if you just say we need more time. Can we extend? Everything is negotiable. Everything that's in that contract can be extended if both parties agree.
The thing is having a conversation with the other party.
Everything's a conversation. So don't freak out with those dates. Those dates are there. They're helpful. They're amazing. But if you need more time, you're just like, hey, Mr. and Ms. Seller, we need a little bit more time. Can we extend the deadline? And then extend the deadline so that it gives you some breathing room and your buyer's not making decisions under duress. Just extend the,
The one that I have now, we did the home inspections, a lot of things that, like the AC, that you have to repair. And they didn't want to budge too much. They budged like 5,000. I'm thinking once the appraisal comes in, and it's a lot lower, you still have that opportunity.
you have the opportunity to ask, but nothing's guaranteed.
Right.
It's always in negotiations, not guaranteed. So that's the other thing. Watch the way you advise your buyers because you want to be very careful that you're not saying, hey, don't worry, we'll get them on the appraisal because they very well could appraise. You know, what's funny is that the appraisal is the appraiser's, you ready?
Opinion.
Opinion. It's,
Just, bringing it back to the CMA. And you have
mhm.
Mhm.
to be able to worry about.
Right. Right.
Because if you.
Right. And that was the next one. Yep. Right. And that was the next one. So that was the third point was one, if they're coming in with a super low offer, a CMA is valuable because you're going to give that for the listing agent. Hey, we're trying to find the value, right? Two, you have somebody, a stubborn buyer that's just like, I just don't pay list. Right. Well, we may not be a good fit because I sell houses. I don't know what you're trying to do. Right. But giving the data like, hey,
Tour.
this is this is where we're at. They're in range. In fact, they're below, right? And then the next thing is the other one where it's like, hey, we can try. I think you're right. We can give them what they want. I do think that this house is overvalued by a lot. Remember, we talked about that $500,000 house. You come in, you're like, this is 300 tops. I'm like, you can offer them 5, but are you prepared? If necessary, are you prepared to pay the difference? You're not obligated to. You're not obligated to, but are you prepared? Because understand, you're paying for inspection, you're paying for appraisal, you're paying maybe a mortgage application fee for upfront in some situations. You're coming out of pocket with some serious money to just roll a dice on really a wing and a prayer, right? So are we being realistic in our inflated offer as well? So are we coming in too low? Is it listed too high, or are we coming in way too high, but coming in hot and we really don't have data to support this? You love the house, you need to be there because your grandkids are 1 block down. You give anything, you'll give your left toe. You need to be there. Okay, it's that important for you. It's overpriced and the seller's not budging. Are you, if it does not appraise, are you willing to come in with some, if not all of that gap? Some people do that. You have to understand, some people are like, I need that house. Like if the guy next, I live in half a double, if he were to sell it to me, I would consider buying it at almost not any price, but I would consider buying it at an inflated price because I want it as attached to my house. And motivation. Though I think that's where the CMA is a little different for buyers. I think there's a little bit more wiggle room. I think it's a little more broad. It's more of a compass. I find the CMA to be a little bit more of a compass for your direction with the buyer side.
And you don't have to make it like, I'll just show you guys. You don't have to make it complicated at all.
You want to see if I can get on?
No, it's okay. I don't need this anymore. I don't know what this is.
I can get, after she finishes, I'll see if I can get on RPR for you. It's part of your dues, your NAR dues. So
Like
it's
I
really
just,
pretty, really pretty.
I just basically do this. Like I'll go in here, look at the county. Let's say I'm in like Smithfield Township. And then I'll look at the active, pending, and closed for the past 3 months. So whatever, let's just pick June for right now. And I will literally just print this out, this entire list, because it's going to show them everything that's closed in the past 3 months.
If you email that to them, they can open up the links and they can look at the pictures.
My clients don't know how to open it.
I know, but I mean, yours don't, but in, no, but in,
they do.
that's your one client. But typically,
But okay.
but typically you can send the email,
But
right?
yes, you
And
can
they
send
can,
it to them.
I like
you can
sending them the
print
link because
it.
they can look at the pictures. Because that's the other thing too. They're looking at the outside, but they want to see the inside too.
Yeah. So yeah, this is basically what they're getting, pending, so they can see like, hey, this is under contract. We don't know what it's going to close at, but we kind of have an idea. It went under contract, let's say in 5 days. So that means that like it was a hot house, right? And it's similar to the house that you're buying. Yeah. Well, I mean, I take it down a little bit more, right? If we're looking at, because like Smithfield Township, you rarely get a lot of houses for sale in Smithfield Township. That's why I picked it. So I will take it down. Like Ali said, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I'm not going into the weeds of like, does it have a garage? Does it have 5 acres? Obviously the 5 acres is going to add a little bit more value.
I'll do like 2 acres.
But is
Okay.
it? Yeah.
I start that first.
That's where I would start. Like if we're in an HOA, that's where I would start.
Very
because-
first. That's
yeah.
exactly where you start. In fact, don't even go out of that. Do not go out of the community unless you have to.
Why would you have?
If there's 1 or 2 comps in there, because we have a bazillion communities. So some of the communities, a lot of things don't sell. Like you have one thing come up or something. Then you start working your way out by distance. You want to go about a mile. And then and start comparing. But we have so many communities, typically you can find a couple of comps. I find it's actually harder to find comps outside of the communities. I find that to be more difficult.
It is. And sometimes like
They're like randos. They're just like, and then there'll be some weird house, but like,
well, Ali and I did a deal together last year where it was 80 some acres.
and like a little itty bitty house.
And yeah, it was a little 1,200 square foot house. And I mean, as the
With the
listing
big
agent,
barn,
I had a
big
hard
pole barn.
time. But
Ali.
sorry, I got distracted. Then she started speaking Spanish and I got,
You triggered.
yeah, my brain just, woo. What was I saying?
The big house.
Oh yeah, the big house. So we had to, like, you have to look, you may have to look
Big house.
outside of even that township. Like if it's a very unique house, I have had to look outside of like neighboring townships, like Smithfield Township and maybe like Stroudsburg Borough, not the borough, but Stroud Township, because you can't find anything. If it's not in an HOA and there's nothing comparable to that in Smithfield Township, then you have to look for something else.
But that doesn't happen as often as you
It
think.
doesn't.
We have so many communities right here. A lot of times you can find what you need. Again, this is all about a range. It's not, you're not going to land, you're not a rocket ship landing on the pad. You know, the unique ones, I've gone to other agents. I've gone to Danny, I've gone to Ashley, I've gone to Gentile, like, hey, just looking at this, what you think this is worth? Just what do you think this is worth? Just to kind of get off the cuff where they're at, just without even looking at comps. Because sometimes you can't find the comps, and sometimes you're like, I'm struggling with this right now.
She did it to me. Was it yesterday or Monday? She's like, hey, look at this townhouse. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's definitely going to go for a little bit more than what.
Yeah,
they're
because I'm like,
listed
I'm thinking this, but it's not in this popular townhouse community. But a lot of houses don't come up in this community, period. So great commuter location, all these. That's what you're doing when you're running a CMA. You're saying yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, yes.
Even like states, they
Period.
Yep.
Period.
Two different worlds.
And contrary to, let me tell you, I don't care what anybody says, no, they don't allow short-term rental there. Just sell it like that. Don't even say they do, because you're going to be up the creek. Because they're going to tell you they do. I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. No, they do. I'm like, okay, good luck with that, baby. Because they're going to tell you they do. They don't. They give you like 3.5 guest passes that you can use all year, and you're screwed. So if somebody's looking to make money on short-term rental, they're not going to do it in Lake Naomi. Okay. So that there can affect their goals and all that, and how much they're willing to pay for a house. 1,200 square feet, the layout. I've seen some houses, 3,000 square feet, and the layout is like, what? The living room is the size of a matchbox because they have 52 bedrooms,
Yeah.
right?
That's a different class for another day.
As a whole, that's your forte. So getting into the inventory is going to help you. And thank you for bringing that up, because when you do your CMA, this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Before you do the CMA, if any house has more than 3 bedrooms, I'm mandating you
Mandating.
to check the tax record. Because if the tax record says 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, that's what I'm using for my comps. Period. Period. Because you see houses 4 or 5 bedrooms and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? And even before I go in, I'm like, I wonder how big these bedrooms are. 2,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, okay. But if it's more than 3 bedrooms, you need to check tax records. And I'll be honest with you, and I'll tell the listing agent, hey, I get it, I appreciate it, but on tax record, this is 3.2. So I really consider this 3.2 with bonus rooms. I don't know what the appraiser is going to do with this. If the appraiser decides to look at the tax records, look at the rooms and be like, and not give them full credit for these bedrooms, where are we at?
And that comes down to appraisal.
Where's the septic?
That
Yeah,
comes down
that's
to
the next
appraiser
area, the big
opinion
one.
too, though, because I've seen them go both ways.
Yep.
Where they'll say they see that it's a 4-bedroom, but then they'll on the appraisal they'll call it a
6,
3.2,
right?
or whatever the case is. Or I tell my buyer, hey, this is really a 3-bedroom, so we're gonna price it in that
right.
range of a 3-bedroom. But then the appraiser comes in and they're like, oh, it's 4.
Yeah.
Cool.
I go conservative with that because of the septic as well. We learned one of the things that was happening during, especially after the COVID run, that became a very big conversation. Septics are built according to the number of bedrooms. So unless they put a new septic in there, if you have 4, 5, 6 bedrooms, if you're not maintaining, can the septic work? Yeah, it can work. Are you maintaining it though? Because it wasn't built for 6.
Even if they don't have
Mm-hmm.
quality of
Right.
you can't anything unless you have you're selling.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes you have to hedge it. You look at the tax records, ask some questions. But again, I hate to say it this way, but you're here to kind of like guide them through it. You're not an appraiser. So is this house grossly overpriced and we're coming in under? Let's support it. Is your buyer being a jerk and doesn't want to come up? Then whip them into shape.
I will say this though, like we've talked a lot about financing and appraisers, but we do have
The cash.
cash buyers. So that's where
That's where
I
it's different.
usually do more
Right.
CMAs, and I will pull this data up more often because they're not covered by an appraiser.
Right.
They're not, they
Right.
don't want to take that chance of overpaying. But again, that also comes with how many houses you've been in and how
Right.
many what you know about the market.
And oftentimes they will come in under.
Mm-hmm.
And that, don't freak out. You've got a cash buyer that doesn't need an appraisal. So there's less risk there. So don't freak out. I don't, unless they're coming drastically under, but if they're cash, I'm like, let's try it. Because they are paying cash and it makes it easier for the seller. You know, it's the, you pay to play, right? And so if the seller is like, oh, I really like these terms, okay, well then give up a little bit. Give up a little bit or deal with a mortgage. That's where with the cash, she's right. You want to just hone in on it. Again, you're not an appraiser, but you do want to get a little bit more. You want to fine tune a little bit. Find at least three with cash. I would say 3 to 5 comps. It depends on what they're looking for because commercial can take away value for somebody who's looking for residential use. Like most of the time, however, this is a whole different class, but most of the time the way a house is being used is the way it's being used. But you never know if maybe it's zoned residential until it transfers. I don't know. It's
If it's multi-use
multi-use
or
or
mixed use rather.
it depends. It depends on if like somebody looking for short-term rental or they want to put a hair salon in their basement or they want to run a daycare, then it adds value. But for a regular home buyer, that's not always a deal breaker, but also depending on where it is, if it's closer to commercial properties, they may not want to be so close to commercial areas. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of picture something on 611.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I was just picturing.
Right. Right. Probably not.
Yeah.
Right. 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 Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's a broad question because it really depends on who the buyer is, what they're trying to do, and where the property is located. Because you could be on 611 and it's like, but then you could be on like one of these little places where there's like this office stuff going on and it's still residentially. And they're like, okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's again, it depends on your buyer.
Yeah. It depends.
And how
All
close-
that's a whole different thing when it comes to like what they're willing to pay. Right. But let me see. I'll see if I can get on RPR. Have any of you ever used RPR? Yeah.
I've never used RPR for my buyers myself. So I'm curious to see how she does it. I sit next to her and I have no idea.
The reports are super pretty and they have a lot of information in there that you're like,
And this is definitely has nothing to do with CMAs, but when your buyer asks you, hey, what's the school district like? Give them
can send
this
them here,
because
yeah.
it's not my opinion, it's data shared on.
that's one of the reasons why I didn't use RPR was because I felt like I couldn't give out that information. But I think this is it.
She thought it was like a steering.
When I first came and they're like, don't talk about schools, don't do it, you understand? When RPR first rolled out, a lot of people were like, well, you know, you should take out those pages or whatever, because it was like you were talking about the school district or the demographic or whatever. So when
It just tells you stats.
It's just stats.
what I said is when I first came, I was nervous. I didn't say I use it now. When I first started, I was concerned about it because it was drilled into me about not speaking about schools. Right. And then that's
Yeah,
it, like
that's it.
that's
That's
right.
what you do. Here's the report. I'm not talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it freaked me out. Because it was like drilled in me not to talk about schools. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, I'm not
I
saying.
can say
don't
what school
count
district, I
it.
can talk about what schools are there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I'm just not gonna tell them, hey, I don't even tell them my kid goes to East Stroudsburg School District, because then they start asking, oh, does she love it there? Like, I don't,
This is what I tell buyers, and it's only because it's the truth. In 16 years, I've only had one person that ever told me they do not want to be in. Once, they wanted to get out of their school district. One time. So I always tell, and most people, when they're from here, they want to stay in their school.
Mhm.
That's what I find. And so I just pass that.
if they, well, this is the thing, if somebody says, I want to be in the school district, that's different than you talking about a school district.
I opened up.
If
a
you
can
tell
of
me
worms.
you want to be in school, that doesn't matter. And I search by school districts, no, that's, you asked me specifically,
But I'm talking about people that live here. I've only met one that wanted to change. And I just tell them, I just tell my buyers that. I don't know of any that are better than the other, but this is my experience. All
so,
people wanna say, what tells me,
well, we'll talk about that later. We're just talking,
telling
when she's with you. Yeah, but the school districts that you talk to your coach, you talk to your broker about how to approach that. We can give data. We're just not allowed to give opinions.
That was
Okay.
that was my only point to that.
Yeah, you
Sorry,
can
guys,
give-
I opened up a
No,
can.
no,
of
it's
worms.
okay.
I just wanted.
And somebody asking to be in a school district, you
Yeah.
put it in there, right? Because they're asking for that school district. Their kids don't, that's different, yes.
The same thing with if they ask you to be next to a church.
No, no,
If they.
Nope.
No?
nope. What you ask is when they say, hey, I want to be near a church or a synagogue, you ask them, where is that? What is your perimeter? How far do you want to be from this? Where? Because you're assuming certain things, how far it is or where it is, what proximity. They have to be very clear on what they want. You can't assume that you know which church, that you know what denomination, that you know what even close is for them. Always ask, right? Oh, I want to be near St. John's Lutheran Church on 611. Okay, when you say you want to be near there, what does near look like for you? 1 mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, 6 miles, 10. Oh, I can within 10 miles. Okay. Then you could put it, where is this church located? This is the church. Okay, then you could put a search for that. Right. But if they're like, hey, I want to go to, church. Oh, there's a Catholic church here. There's a Baptist church there. Or, oh, it's right down you want to ask them where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? How far are you willing to travel? You agree? Okay. Oh, good. Whew. I said the right thing. The broker's here. No steering. Woo. No steering. Woo. No antitrust. Woo. No schools. I mean, I told Bob, I'll tell you guys off camera. Anyway, all right. So here's the website. This is given to us from NAR RPR. I use this a lot for quickies. I use it for like a lot of pages and stuff. It's super simple. You do want to, I tried not to, but you did it. You do want to review some of the information in there. There is opportunity for you to kind of tweak it. I don't tweak much, right? So I have my listing. So I put in the listing, whatever listing you're into, this is it. And literally look, it gives you what the list, well, this is what we have it listed at. This is their value. This is their range, and this is their confidence. So this is the one where I was like, I'm really not thinking that this is it. And from here, I went to a CMA into the MLS to actually pull data within. When you come in here, you can adjust. You can adjust kind of what this is about the house, but you can adjust also where the comps. So you can put here CMA. And then it'll
Allie, go back one page. Or just to that, I want to show everybody. Go scroll down a little bit. Keep scrolling. Down to the property information. So this is where you like, if let's just say the listing agent says it's 5 bedrooms, but you walk through that house and you're like, this is actually really 3 bedrooms. You can put that information there so that it can kind of rerun everything.
Yeah, you can adjust some of it here. And then see all the, this is all the information. So people like it. I like it. I like their reports. They come out really pretty. And then you see it, edit CMA. So if here, let's see, I think you can go into what comps are being used, I believe. See, look, confirm home, which we did, search for comps, average comp. You can adjust the comps.
Well, those are your comps, the ones that you used.
Yeah, you can choose comps.
You can yeah.
Yeah.
So it has stuff in here. You can click, close, see active. This is mine. Off market, has off market data. So this is cool because you go in there and you can you go in there, play with it. But what I'll show you is, let's say create report just for fun. Oh my gosh.
RPR is good. The only time I use RPR really is to see.
So look,
what
here you go.
comps are out there that aren't on our MLS.
So here's,
We have so many MLSs selling in this area.
yep.
They're not in our token.
Yep. So it's that's where you go through the comps. You can see what's on there and you can decide what's a good comp. Off market. Some of them are active. Some of them are pending.
It takes in for sale like merch.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say that too.
Takes it, yeah. So you get a little more. Yes.
It's all part of
You're paying for it.
And there's a lot.
Look, it's 16 pages.
You can get.
You could get up to, that's what I was saying. You could get like 52 pages on this bad boy,
I've gotten 81.
right? So, and what's nice, and you saw I didn't do anything. I was like, click, 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 right? It pulls all the data. But then look at the way it looks. This is how the pages look. Yep. Yeah, because it has, look, it comes just alone. It has just for basic, right? No, it was a little higher. We did a price adjustment.
And the program calculated closer.
5 and change, but I was still kind of like, I again,
Well, and maybe it's the what is it, the RVR or AVR thing
AVR.
on there? That's really similar to like the Zillow value, right? Or no? Okay. I always thought it was. It's more
Yeah.
accurate.
That's where I think with this, you should be more selective with the comps and really look at the comps on this and just decide which comps are going to kind of work for you. Again, on the listing side, it's a little different. On the buyer side, I'm a little more broad with it. But if you look at it, this gives you median list price for the area. This then gives you pending listings. This gives you, again, you can decide what you want. Sold, median sold price. So it's not just what's sold, but the median. This gives you a lot of data. So for people who like data, median price versus sold price, and it gives you the cute little graphs and the little lines. And neighborhood. Now, this is what I was telling you. Look, it gives you neighborhood facts and stats about the area. Again, you're not having conversations about this is a good neighborhood, this is a bad neighborhood, great school, bad school. You're giving them just some data about the area itself.
Listing appointment, I went out to 6, competition for a listing. Was a retired engineer. And I was the only one that used RPR and used RPR.
And he loved this.
This is easy on the app.
It is. It's easy on the eye, and it gives you a lot more data than the, or it's easier to understand than the CMA from. Lex.
Something, it makes you feel like.
See, this is stuff I want to talk about, households with children. Like I wouldn't talk about it, but this might be valuable to somebody who's coming in that wants to know.
You have a market at a price, whatever it is, an RPR had a value. Walk me through your process and what you did to come up with the price that you're.
Well, I would say two things. One, it's a completely different process because it was with the seller and this is the buyer CMA. We went through it. He's a realtor in New York State, so he just has to learn his lesson. That was my process. Okay. I advised him. I told him he was dead wrong. Then I told him, I told you so. I was like, and congratulations, now we're chasing the market. Good job. This isn't a great example. This is one of those where I knew where I was headed with this, and he just left.
Yeah, it's time
Yeah,
to.
we're out. I'm sorry. Any last questions or anything? We're good. Any? No, we're good. Everybody good? Who has a question? Huh? I'm passing you the baton. I'll do the MLS. I will try it.
For the class, Ed? Hey.